Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Week 7. I almost just absolutely dropped my controller, my main piece of equipment here. Welcome to Week 7. This is FormulaJuan. We're racing in China, and right now we're looking at it's 7-Eleven. Hi, Mom. Thanks for joining in. Everybody, my mom is watching in the chat. Thank God I'm not in the Xbox party with these absolute animals. My girlfriend just shut the door because I'm being too loud, probably. But it also helps my self-esteem so that way I don't get self-conscious because I'm about to cast a simulated race online. We're on board right now with Jake Ocken qualifying as he runs into the pit lap. We're racing here at China. Absolutely only fast boys only. Of course, these guys get about, I believe it's 18 minutes of nothing but qualification time as we roll on into the Bauer Dangles Tucker Hafner. We'll start with Racing Point. We'll go kind of down the list and see what these guys have to do as far as today's race. Racing Point, difficult right now for them. Tucker Hafner, you gotta think we're gonna see some big things coming out of some driver controversy. Maybe looking for a new number one driver as far as that goes in MN hockey. Both drivers have been. I forgot my webcam is right here, not up here anymore. Both drivers have kind of had disappointing seasons thus far in Season 3, but hopefully a nice fast open track for Tucker Hafner will prove that he can kind of get back into where we saw him early on in Race 1 at Bahrain. Jake Ocken, who's in the pits right now. Renault, fantastic race last week at Monaco. I don't think that nobody saw it coming, but I think as far as a first place finish and then a double podium for Renault, I think that was very important for them, and it was definitely important for the standings. We go on board here with Williams and Polchea 1432, also known as Billy Nash. Williams has got to step it up. This is a great race for them to kind of prove that they can still hang with the best of them. And Polchea is an aggressive driver. He's got what I think he's got what it takes to be in the top three, or at least a little bit more consistently in the points. He's been, I think personally, he's been a little disappointed with his finishes, but overall, got to look for a little bit more out of the Williams team. Swift Mermaid, no qualies this week yet again. We go to the Jake Getch and the Ferrari. Jake Getch specifically currently right now pitting, but look for a strong bounce back performance. He was really eager in Monaco, though both Ferraris were Montana Propane and Propane Accessories, and Jake were really flying through Monaco trying to advance. I think they really wanted a W, and I think that's going to spread over into Monaco here. So kind of let's keep our eyes out on the Jake Getch Ferrari. And young Fullard, what else is to say about Renault? Last week was fantastic. Jake Ocken got a win, a couple weeks ago. So young Fullard potentially could be kind of that. I think as of right now, he is the number 2 driver for Renault. But he could push into that number 1 spot, and maybe if Ocken falls back or has a struggle race, then they have young Fullard right there. Of course, young Fullard, the brother of Wyatt. Super fast TM in the Alfa Romeo, the Sieganator down there at the bottom in 18th, the other Alfa Romeo. Again, kind of same places with Williams. They're doing a little bit better than Williams as far as points go and as far as races go, but with the pedigree that they had, with the prestige that they had, I'd want to see a little bit more out of the Superfast TM and the Alfa Romeo. We're currently right now running on some soft tires, running a decent qualifying out here for a little practice lap as we about 9 minutes left in qualifying. Sieganator, the other Alfa Romeo. Again, just kind of gotta keep doing what they're doing, stay in the middle of the pack, getting the team some points, and I think they'll be all right. But we definitely want to see Alfa Romeo on the podium. They did so well a couple seasons ago that I think we could definitely see a big push from them. But it's going to take a lot, and this wide open China track could give them the trebuchet to do it. The ND Irish, disappointing race. Last race for them at Monaco. Not the finish that he necessarily wanted, not the finish that I had him in, but definitely could have another bounce back race. China's wide open. China's really fast. Could prove to be advantageous for the ND Irish. And then you also have his teammate and Captain Chaos, who I don't believe finished the last race. It might have been the other way around. Don't quote me on that. And then MN Hockey having a little bit of a spinorama here as we get a yellow flag in qualifying, probably because of his crash as he looks to get back on the track here. Racing Point, you kind of want these guys to succeed. You're rooting for them the whole way. Currently running on some soft tires right now. Getting a little racy as he ran through the grass there. But as far as points go, you want to see MN Hockey kind of help his teammate Bauer Dangles, who both have been racing since the first race. They've been racing with a little bit of tenacity. I think Tucker Hafner's been going a little quicker than his counterpart. Jake Ocken currently setting the fastest lap at 1:30. The purple is kind of screwing up here. 6:86. Let's see if that holds up. Currently, right now, sitting in pole position. Infinite Speed and the AlphaTauri team, both him and Bush Latte, decent, but again, could be better. Like, you know, the meme, life's good, but it can be better. And I think for the AlphaTauri team, it can be better. They ran a really solid race a couple weeks ago, sitting on the podium, which was huge for them, for Infinite Speed. And I think they could definitely do it again, whether it's Bush Latte or Infinite Speed. I like Infinite Speed's a little bit, chances a little bit better, I should say. About 7 minutes left here in qualifying, and right now Jake Hawkins holding steady with that 1:30. Bauer Dangles coming in second, and Jake Remish, the only wheel guy in the league, sitting in the solid third. We'll get to him here in a sec. Young Popre, your third place finisher last week, celebrating a birthday last week, but this week it's back to back to the ground. He was flying high last week. I think China may humble him a little bit, and he's going to have to maybe not use Travis as a slingshot, but use Travis as a partner rather than a defensive barricade, if you will. Some people noticed, some other drivers have noticed that Connor may take a little bit more precedence for himself rather than his teammate, but they have good chemistry. They know what it takes to work. I heard him talking strategy earlier today, and I think it's going to work out for him. They've got great communication between the two teammates, and I think they like the position that each of them are in. So it'll be a fun race to watch these guys go, and we'll definitely keep an eye on them as they finish third last race. So I was talking about the only wheel guy in the league at a great run at Belgium. In this wide open track really suits him again. I'd be really, really careful, and I'd keep a close eye on Jake Remish with the girth that China has and the speed that you can get here at China. There's a big main straightaway that we're gonna see a lot of guys going fast, and Jake Etch, I think, is going to be one of them. The wheel is going to be kind of his strategic advantage that he has over these guys. And the rest of the grid. And of course, the man that I have finishing in Blues Bets, I got a finishing in first today. He's going to podium again. I think the last couple races have been disappointing for Wyatt Schmidt. He's a battler. He wants to get in there, and Mercedes is not going to really take everything lying down here. I think they're definitely going to try to come back, and whether it be Frat Lord, Dane, his teammate, or Wyatt Schmidt, I think again, having this nice open track here, China, he's pushing the car hard right now. Let's take a look and see how fast he is going. Currently right now in the pit lane, of course, so that was bad timing on my part. But you definitely got to make sure that Wyatt Schmidt is in your eye, in your view for winning the race, or at least podium, sitting on the podium this week. Especially with the race that I think they're going to have, which is going to be it's going to be quick. Gonna be quick for sure. So it looks like lots of guys running on soft tires right now on quali, getting racy, trying to get the most grip possible. We got a pretty dry race. I think there's going to be a little rain scheduled for the end of the race, but right now it does look like it is fairly clear, especially for qualifying. That's good. Jake Ocken still holding steady at the that first place marker, that pole position. So we talked about one beefy Haas. Let's talk about Brian All Franz, no Hans, and that would be So Brian Franz for the Haas. I think the balance of Jake Remish and Brian Franz could work really well, especially in this track. I think this track here in China could help Franzi kind of open up, kind of let the gas pedal hit the floor and kind of show what the rest of the grid what he can do. We talked previously about Connor Beaupre, and I mentioned Travis Helling kind of being that defensive, that bumper position, holding other drivers off and letting Beaupre go. Some guys have noticed that. I think it's pretty decent strategery, but maybe it could create or lead to some driver controversy. Helling was getting in the points. He's helping out his teammate. So I think it's a pretty good idea, pretty good strategy as we go on board with him running at a 195, almost 200 miles an hour here in China. This nice long straight. I think we're going to see some overtakes here. I think we're going to see some serious driving. We talked about Wyatt Schmidt going forward with the Frat Lord. It's always great when it rhymes, right? Mercedes, I almost said Montreal, thinking of hockey. Mercedes definitely looking for a comeback over the last couple races, just because it hasn't been what they wanted it to be or what they thought. So China, open race. It's going to be a ton of fun. Stay tuned. I'm going to let you guys watch the rest of qualifying last couple minutes here. Listen to some tunes and listen to the cars, shall we? And see currently Remish sitting in that pole spot right now at posting a 1:35.14. Jake Ocken coming in second. Byron Engel in third. Mercedes and Wyatt Schmidt coming in fourth. Pochea in fifth. Beaupre and McLaren in sixth. Jake and the Ferrari coming in seventh. Going forward, the other Renault coming in eighth. So 2-8 split from the podium guys. And some of the moving podium sitting in fourth right now in Wyatt Schmidt. And then you take a look at the best of the rest. Hellings, Travis Helling sitting in 10th spot, seeing for Red Bull. That's who we're making. Water here, so it's not liquid. Qualifying results. Let's see. It looks like if they do remain the same, Jake Remish will sit at a very nice little podium spot of first. Which would be awesome for him to get out early, especially with that wheel. Get comfy, folks. It's going to be a long race here in China. It's going to be really, really quick, though. These guys are going to go really fast. I know it's kind of an oxymoron. We're here at the Shanghai International Circuit. It's a dry race. Nothing too nasty. We're apparently going to get some nastiness towards the end. There you have it. Jake Remish sitting in that pole 1. Aachen coming in second. Bauer Dangles in third. That's huge for Racing Point. Let's see if he can maintain that third spot. Wyatt Schmidt coming in right behind him in that Mercedes fourth. My prediction is that Wyatt Schmidt maybe tries to make an early move and move into that podium spot and try to maintain or push for first. All right, you guys know the drill. Gonna get the game volume really, really loud for you, so you can hear these guys rev on the grid. First things first, though. It's, of course, Formula One, brought to you by Penny's Coffee. I'm your host, you're my boy Blue, if you didn't know that already. Follow me on Twitter, BlueGaming5. And, of course, if you're not following us on Twitter already, it's FormulaJuan Racing on Twitter. Follow us on Twitch. Since you're already here, you might as well, at FormulaJuan Racing. And if you want to, you can sauce Jake Getch a follow. Getch is what he goes by on Twitch. You can toss me a follow. You're my boy Blue on Twitch as well. Jake Remish also streams his portion of the race, all from his point of view with the wheel, which is pretty neat. He is Remish, I believe, Remish42 on Twitch. If you look up Jake Remish, he'll definitely pop up. And make sure you show the guys some love on social media. We always appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. It's China, Week 7. All right. Oh, lights out and away we go here at Shanghai International Speedway. A lovely race right now. So far, Jake Remish sitting in that first spot with that beefy Haas. Jake Aachen fending for that second spot, and Bauer Dangles holds off Wyatt Schmidt as Wyatt Schmidt maybe kind of takes a little bit of a mid-pack here, as there's a large mid-pack as we go on board with Travis Helling. Travis Helling in the mid-pack right now, in the mid-pack dogs, looking at a super fast TM right on his tail. Swift Mermaid, DSQs, and D Irish in that Red Bull car, looking to maybe climb up a little bit in that mid-pack fight as he's looking at the rear end of the Alfa Romeo here. I'm making sure everything was on. I apologize if I missed any action. The guys are getting nice and spread out right now. Of course, like I said earlier, China is a big track, a very wide track, of stark contrast to what we were playing previously. Jake Aachen takes over that first spot as Jake Remish, the only wheel guy in the league, maybe going to try to make a move here, and it looks like they're going to go wheel to wheel. Remish is going to pull back right into that first spot as he sees Jake Aachen in his rearview mirror, but probably not for long, as Jake Aachen goes right into the corner. We see Jake Remish's pit strategy there, and Bauer Dangles moves into the second spot. Nice move by the Racing Point driver as Jake Aachen gets a little aggressive. His teammate and Young Fuller right behind him. Let's see if those guys try to go for a double stack of cars here. And Bauer Dangles, what a race. We saw this in Bahrain. Let's see if he can maybe reproduce the magic that he had early in race 1 as he takes on Jake Remish, who definitely has an advantage with the wheel. And we go on board with the Renault vehicles here as they look at the two leaders of Bauer Dangles and Jake Remish, the Sieganator. Young Beaupre in the McLaren sitting in 5th right now. Wyatt Schmidt, 14th. Remember, he started in 4th, so keep an eye on him as these guys get nice and spread out in this Shanghai International Speedway here. Superfast TM running on some medium tires here as he tries to fend off maybe an ND Irish push as we go on board with the Red Bull driver, and kind of going off the track a little bit there. Had some serious penalty issues, did ND Irish in Monaco, which dropped him down quite a bit. Frat Lord not really making a big splash for the other Mercedes, but he's higher than his teammate right now, but looking for some points. Franzi No Hanzi hunting down the rear end in that beefy Haas of the Mercedes. We got a yellow flag as it looks like, was that Young Bopes? Took it right into the dirt there. I'm not sure if there was a pit or some sort of an accident there, but these guys are currently shaking it up, and definitely a yellow flag for an incident like that. So sorry I missed it. I was looking at someone way less important. Jake Remish sets the fastest lap right now as Young Bopes takes up that 19th spot as he looks to kind of climb back into the top spots here where he's used to. Jake Remish still sitting in that first spot. We've got the Sieganator in the Alfa Romeo kind of trying to maybe put some pressure, but he's got a Ferrari of Jake Getch right behind him. And these guys are going to kind of spread out a little bit more as we look at Travis Helling and Superfast TM. The Mercedes and Alfa Romeo go wheel to wheel. Oh, and Superfast TM couldn't quite make it done. It looks like he's got a little bit of an issue with the vehicle here, but he fends off the ND Irish Red Bull there, which is going to be huge for both teams. But yeah, that Alfa Romeo is going to have some issues, I think, and may have some problems fending off that ND Irish if there's any other technical issues as far as that goes. On board with the ND Irish as he hunts down the Alfa Romeo of Superfast TM. Let's see if he can maybe try to make a move as these guys close in really nice and close with each other. You see Jake Getch closing in on the Sieganator. Nice straightaway here, beautiful view. That's not a beautiful view, that's just the ground, but a nice straightaway here for them to get some great speed. And I'm going to throw up some telemetry here. Nice move there by Jake Getch to overtake the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo took it a little wide, and Jake Getch was able to take advantage and moves into that 5th spot as Young Ford and the Renault sit in 4th. Bauer Dangles moves down, gets bumped down, still in a podium spot, which is impressive for him over the last 2 weeks, which have been disappointing. And they go a little bit into the grass, and Bauer Dangles is going to run those brakes nice and hot. A little late break on the corner there as he tries to make Jake Ocken a fool for sitting in 2nd place, and Jake Remish just absolutely flying away. Young Bopes still sitting in the bottom of the pack. As we look at Franzi getting passed there by Wyatt Schmidt. Wyatt Schmidt making a good come up here from 14th to 11th. As we go on board with Beefy Haas. Franzi, wheel touches there by Wyatt Schmidt and Franzi. No love lost, though, as Wyatt Schmidt still stays in 11th. We'll see if this rivalry kind of heats up a little bit. These guys have been known to kind of bump and grind each other quite a bit. We saw Wyatt Schmidt and I believe it was Young Ford, his brother, kind of bump and tear and rip and tear in Singapore there, as we see Bush Latte overtaking Infinite Speed. MN Hockey dropping back. Captain Chaos and Young Bopes are going to round out your bottom 2. The ND Irish holding off Super TM, or Superfast TM, excuse me. And Travis Helling taking over that first spot as a McLaren driver right now. The hashtag #FreeTravis on Twitter. Make sure it gets trending. Jake Getch trying to make another move there on the Young Fullard for 4th. Not going to happen. Wyatt Schmidt overtakes the Frat Lord, his teammate, for a 10th spot. That is definitely a clear 1-2 punch right there. Let's see if those guys can maybe make a move as we see ND Irish go into the pits here in China. Frat Lord moves up. Schmidt moves up. Wyatt Schmidt down into now into 9th from 14th where he started. And that ND Irish pit is going to put him back into 15th. We'll see where he exits as we see Franzi No Hanzi also take a pit. We'll see some tire strategy here. This is a long race. It's 28 laps, and it's all super quick for these guys. So these guys are going to try to see tire strategy-wise if these tires can maybe get them a little bit more time or a little bit extra edge over the other guy. This is a great little race that we have right now between Segan, Getch, and Young Fullard. Getch trying to hunt into that 4th spot, get Ferrari some more points. Let's see if it's going to happen. Segan climbing towards the rear end of that beautiful red Ferrari car. A little late on the brakes to try to make a move. Infinite Speed takes over Captain Chaos down there in the 15th, 16th spot. These guys are super close right now, but this wide track is just giving them all the opportunities to play very, very defensive as of right now. Travis Helling got a ways to go to get to that Segan Alfa Romeo. Segan's teammate going to try to maybe spoil Helling's 7th spot and gun for it. Wyatt Schmidt not too terribly far behind as we go into the corners here of Sector 3, and not a whole lot of mistakes there in that corner as Young Fullard takes a pit. Seganator moves up into 5th, Jake Getch into 4th, which is what he wanted to do. Let's see how long those soft tires last him, though. I think we'll see a pit here from the Ferrari very, very soon as Wyatt Schmidt also takes a pit early on. Lots of early pits here as we go on board with Jake Getch, who's got a Seganator Alfa Romeo car. Be huge for Segan to get up a little bit closer to that podium spot, or maybe even to a podium spot, as we see Bauer Dangles here in 3rd, trying to maybe cause a little bit of heckling, maybe a little bit of pressure on that Jake Ocken vehicle. And Jake Remish has got a ways to go before he gets anyone near him, but I think Jake Ocken's going to try to get a little racy. Remish running on some soft tires, no damage to the car, and Jake Ocken takes that a little wide. Bauer Dangles a little too far behind to take advantage, as Segan definitely is going to put some pressure on Jake Getch here soon as Franzi overtakes Captain Chaos down there at the bottom. Super fast TM and Travis Helling still trying to duke it out for 7th and 8th. For 6th and 7th now, and Superfast TM is definitely going to try to get a little wiry. I think the soft tires are giving McLaren a little bit more grip, and Helling is really good at defensive racing. We saw it last week in Monaco. Jake Getch and Segan. Seganator finally takes over for Getch after much toying and playing around. Let's see if Jake Getch takes advantage of that wide turn. Oh, a little bit into the grass. Superfast TM overtakes Helling. Same corner. Nice moves there by the Alfa Romeo team as we see Getch early pit again. Bauer Dangles also an early pit. Soft tires early for these guys as Segan moves into the 1st spot, and let's see if he can hold on. Jake Remish taking a pit as well. Let's see if it's going to be nice and quick for him. Yes, it is, and he's going on to some hard tires. And he's going for a 2-stop strategy. Montana Propane and Propane Accessories. Currently the fastest Ferrari right now as Jake Getch is in the pit and dropping down to 11th. Fratlord is in 3rd right now. I say wow because normally we see Wyatt Schmidt right here, but Wyatt Schmidt is currently in 16th as Andy Irish moves all the way up into 13th. Bauer Dangles pitted early, now he's in 9th. Still doing all right for a Racing Point race. Let's see if he can maybe climb up to that glory that he was in as we see Jake Ocken here in 8th right in front of him. That Renault. Ooh, and right behind Bauer Dangles is an Infinite Speed AlphaTauri that's looking for a little bit more points. A little bit of a redemption race after Monaco's disappointment. Jake Ocken in the Renault. Going to hold off Bauer Dangles, and Jake Remish, the only wheel guy in the league in the beefy Haas. 7th, that'd be a disappointing race for him as he definitely has an advantage with that PED of a wheel that he has. Nice hot brakes there, and he's running on some hard tires. Let's see, we're at lap 7 right now, folks. So let's see if that can maybe get him part of the race or a majority of the race where guys are going to have to maybe pit a little later and give him an advantage. Fratlord sitting nice, and Sweetcoons in the chat by Trackstar. Always appreciate the Sweetcoons. A little deja vu from last week. We have Segan and Superfast TM, couple teammates in the 1 and 2 spot right now, which is exactly how we saw Young Fullard and the Jake Ocken Renaults last week. So let's see if Alfa Romeo can keep this going as they come into the corners here at Sector 1 of China. If anyone didn't know, we were racing at China, Shanghai International Speedway. talk about the rough trip home, how the DSQ happened. I almost DSQ'd on the way home. I don't know how the DSQ happened. I believe it was a big bunch up at the start, and my controller was away from me, and I wasn't able to catch the action as far as the early issues here. Yeah, the drive home was brutal here in Columbus, Ohio, where I'm located, where Track Car is. So I almost DNF'd, to be totally honest. So we go on board here with MN Hockey. Great race right now for the Racing Point drivers. Bauer Dangles in 9th, going to hopefully fight back to that 3rd spot, running on some medium tires and taking that corner a little wide. Ooh, and he's got some pressure at Jake Remish and the beefy Haas. Let's see if Jake Remish and Jake Ocken maybe put a little pressure on the little bit less experienced driver of MN Hockey, and I think that's going to happen very soon. Busch Latte and the AlphaTauri definitely making things surprising, sitting in 5th. He's also on some medium tires. Let's see if he maybe takes a pit here as we go to lap 8. And there's Jake Remish taking over MN Hockey like it's absolutely nothing. Warmed up the butter knife, spread the butter on there, and it was good. Jake Ocken taking over MN Hockey. Ooh, MN Hockey is definitely going to have to battle his way. Ooh, a little corner cut there to try to cut off Jake Ocken. Not going to work. The Renault takes advantage of MN Hockey and the Racing Point team as we go on board with Bauer Dangles, the other driver that was vying for that podium spot. Let's see if he takes over his teammate, who was kind of playing bumper and didn't do too well. They tried to do the Travis Helling, Connor Beaupre strat. Didn't work out. Jake Remish now in 6th. Busch Latte 5th. Montana Propane and Propane Accessories in 4th. And the highest Ferrari right now, as Bauer Dangles does overtake his teammate. And we'll see Bauer Dangles vie for the spot that he was in earlier. Those guys are still pretty close, but we got to make sure that they don't race each other. And now it's up to Montana Hockey. It's up to MN Hockey to hold off the rest of the pack here and see if he can slingshot Bauer Dangles into a podium position like Connor Beaupre did last week. Kyle, I hope you got home safe. I hope everybody got home safe because the winter weather throughout the U.S. is really, really gnarly as we go on board with Jake Ocken, who's also running on some hard tires. I think he took a little bit of a peek at Jake Remish's tire strategy here. He's a little wide on that corner. That's all right. It's Monday. You always can make mistakes on Monday. You got DRS in this nice, super fast straightaway. And let's see if any of these guys take advantage. And you've got a little bit lesser drivers here up front. Oh, Montana Propane takes that a little wide, and Busch Latte and Jake Remish take advantage of that. And Montana Propane, the fastest Ferrari right now, is going to be a little sore after that little run-in with the corner. And Jake Ocken running here for a rear end of a Ferrari. Let's see, he's got DRS, braked, lost it. Young Follard moves up into 9th, and there goes Montana Propane and Propane Accessories. And Bauer Dangles is now hot on his tail, and after a pit by all these guys, they've now almost reclaimed their positions. Great driving by these two drivers, and then of course, oh, here we go, Jake Remish gonna move in on Busch Latte. Busch Latte not giving him much daylight. As Busch Latte and Jake Remish kind of battle it out. Busch Latte looking for a bit of separation from Jake Remish because Jake Remish could be deadly. Right now, it is literally a fight for number 3. A little wide there by the Busch Latte, and Jake Remish is going to have to pull back, and Jake Ocken is going to try to move into that 4th spot. He really likes the podium, and let's see, we're lap 10 of 28 here, folks, so we still got a ways to go, and nothing quite there for Jake Ocken as Montana Propane and Bauer Dangles come wheel to wheel. Oh, Bauer Dangles off into the grass, and Montana Propane is going to get a little bit of separation there from the aggressor, being Bauer Dangles. Wow, who's all in the chat? Who are we cheering for? We're cheering for, right now I really like Segan, and Superfast TM is Jake Remish. Oh, Jake Ocken almost was able to overtake Busch Latte, but a good cut there by Busch Latte and the AlphaTauri. Maybe a little bit of front wing damage, but nice job by Jake Remish to retake a podium position. And there's a yellow flag out right now. So we have a little bit of, I think it was because of the bumping and grinding that we had up here and there goes Jake Ocken passing Busch Latte in the AlphaTauri. And now they're going to hunt back for the number 2, but I'm really liking the Alfa Romeo team right now. Out of nowhere, they come out and get that number 1, number 2 spot. I'm really, really proud of those guys. After some disappointing races, Busch Latte still trying to make things interesting with Jake Ocken. Nothing really going to happen as Montana Popane and Popane Accessories also trying to make things happen. Bauer Dangle still fighting for that podium position that he was in earlier, and he's kind of dropped back into that 7th spot. I think he was vying for 5 earlier. Montana Popane not giving him much room. Oh, he almost was able to see a little bit of daylight there and move in. Montana Popane was able to fend off that beautiful Pepto-Bismol pink car in Bauer Dangles, a.k.a. Tucker Hafner. Let's see, maybe there's not a whole lot of room between these guys. Montana Popane, a little slippy. We are expecting a little bit of rain later on, and this is a big straight right now, and they got DRS in a little bit. Let's see if great drafting here, great driving by Bauer Dangles. Let's see if he makes a move. Rear tires. And going into the corner, and Bauer Dangles gets it done. Nice job, Tucker Hafner, as he moves past that Montana Popane Ferrari and could not really regain control and make that corner a little bit more interesting. And Bauer Dangles peels away. His next target, the AlphaTauri of Busch Latte, is Jake Ocken and Jake Remish. Battle of the Jakes. Seems like it happens every week. That's because we have 12 Jakes in this party. So let's see if these guys can maybe vie for that 3rd spot. It's going to be a good showdown between these two, between the Renault and the beefy Haas. Looks like there's some penalties being handed out to Captain Chaos. We'll see how that goes into the final standings. We're on board with Busch Latte right now. Going at about 130, and he's going to see a Pepto-Bismol pink car, but not quite. These guys are going nice and fast, 170, going down into the 100s into that corner. Busch Latte maintaining his 5th position. Bauer Dangles was aggressive with Montana Popane. Let's see if he can maybe be the aggressor and get aggressive with the AlphaTauri. We'll go on board with Bauer Dangles here, as he's going to draft the AlphaTauri here. Nice smooth overtakes, absolutely. Thank you. Ooh. Oh, a little bit of drift there by Bauer Dangles. Let's see. This is where he overtook Montana Popane. Let's see if Bauer Dangles can do it again. He's got a draft, and there's the AlphaTauri, and there goes Bauer Dangles. Tucker Hafner, great overtake there using DRS in this corner of Sector 3 along that straightaway. Wyatt Schmidt out of the race, or at least got some serious penalties as far as that goes. Maybe a little bit of a bin and a spin as we go down to the lower portions here as Polchea overtakes Helling. Travis Helling dropping down to the 14th. Travis Helling not going to take it lying down, and Polchea is going to seal the deal on that pass, moving himself up into 13th as Helling takes that a little wide there at the end. And the Irish, not a whole lot of action going on by him. The AlphaTauri, the other AlphaTauri, sitting in 10th. Both AlphaTauris currently sitting in the points right now. Looking at the MN Hockey Racing Point car, I find it funny that those guys are both battling some Racing Point cars. And Montana Popane and Busch Latte maybe trying to make things interesting as Young Fuller, the other Renault, sitting currently in 8th as his partner goes up into 4th. Jake Remish currently sitting in 3rd. Maybe going to try to make a move and maybe try to outlast the 2 Alfa Romeos, as they have quite a lead right now and going for a Monday drive. Jake Remish and Jake Ocken going bumper to bumper here. And these guys, this is good racing because these guys are pretty good at the game as far as I'm aware, especially Jake Remish's PED and the wheel that he uses. So let's take a look maybe with DRS. DRS is now available to Jake Ocken. Let's see if Jake Ocken takes advantage and maybe gets an overtake. Corner's coming up here soon. And he couldn't quite get it done. Hits the brakes a little early, but he does clear that gap between him and Jake Remish. There's a yellow flag out on the track as we take a look at Young Beaupre taking a little bit of a spin here as the Siegnator finally pits. The Alfa Romeo going to drop down. And Bauer Dangles moves up into 4th, which is what he was gunning for. Nice pit stop at the Siegnator. Still running on, I believe this is going to be soft tires. He's trying to get racing. He's going to try to climb back up. He was on some mediums earlier. Young Fuller hunting down Montana Popane and Popane Accessories in that Ferrari. Huge if Ferrari can remain in that 5th place spot. and even bigger if Alfa Romeo can remain in that one. Jake Remish back in the back a little bit higher. Rain was expected a little bit later. We're at lap 14 to 28. We're about halfway through the race. I'm thinking the latter 3/4 as we go on board with Jake Ocken. Oh, thought about the wrong track there. Maybe he was thinking about a pit. Not quite there, Jake, and lost a potential passing opportunity of Jake Remish, and Bauer Dangles may take advantage of the. Oh, that was creepy. Oh, does Jake Remish spin out? Maybe a little bit of a disconnect there. As he's reset on the track, I think I missed it. I apologize. Bauer Dangles moves into that third spot. Jake Ocken and the Renault in number 2. He's familiar with this spot. Yellow flag out as we go on board with Montana Popane, who looks like he might have spun out. A pass by Infinite Speed in the AlphaTauri, and his teammate Jake Getch is also going to take advantage. And Jake Getch is going to go for 2. Nice job there by Mr. Streamer. Jake Getch in the Ferrari, taking advantage of his teammate and Infinite Speed. Infinite Speed going to try to make that corner interesting. Nothing there. Super Fast TM finally taking a pit for the Alfa Romeo after about 15 laps, sitting in first. And he's going to try to make it quick. His teammate, Sieganator, in the other Alfa Romeo, gunning for the rear end of the young Fullard Renault. Let's see if these guys can make something interesting. As Jake Ocken, a familiar place for him, sitting in first. Nobody around except for Bauer Dangles, who we know can be aggressive and we know can really let it rip on these open tracks. So we'll see, and we'll definitely keep an eye on this straightaway coming up here and see if he takes advantage of some DRS. Jake Remish, the only wheel guy in the league, running pretty clean race. Young Fullard maybe going to give him some pressure in the Renault vehicle there. We go back on board with Bauer Dangles. Bauer Dangles in the Renault of Jake Ocken. Ooh, getting nice and close, nothing there. Late braking there by Bauer Dangles and Jake Remish and the young Fullard. Go wheel to wheel. And let's see, on board as young Fullard and Jake Remish kind of battle there for that third spot. Young Fullard takes it over. DRS is available soon for Jake Remish. Let's see if the young Fullard, as Bauer Dangles overtakes for that first place. Little bump there by Jake Ocken. Oh, letting him know who's got more wins. And the Sieganator climbing back up, overtaking Jake Remish, who just had a faulty straightaway there. Jake Getch overtaking MN Hockey, and Jake Remish going to have to battle back. As we see the clouds rolling in here, I think we're going to see some rain. And the Sieganator vying for that third spot. And back to the podium he shall go. Nice job done there by the Alfa Romeo to overtake the Renault. His next opponent is another Renault and Jake Ocken, but these guys have got some serious differential. And young Fullard is going to try to vie for that double podium again with his teammate, which would be awesome to see 2 weeks in a row, but I think the Sieganator is going to try to make it up. But we take a look, Sieganator in a Renault sandwich right now as Jake Remish. Let's see if he can take advantage of using the wheel. Jake Getch, the 12th Jake in the league. And these two, Superfast TM and ND Irish, kind of getting a little close. Leave a little room for the Holy Ghost here, boys, as we go on board with the ND Irish. Wyatt Schmidt's at the fastest lap on some medium tires for Mercedes. That's a little extra points for him. He's currently sitting at 18th. Another disappointing race for Wyatt Schmidt. We'll see if he's able to maybe get back into the groove of things as Superfast TM pulls away from a struggling ND Irish car. To be honest, I thought I saw some issues early. I think he's dealing with something mechanical, and he's doing a pretty good job sitting in 9th for something going wrong with the car. We'll see how these cars react to the wet. I think these guys wanted to make as much progress as possible on the softs and mediums and some hards, as we see young Fullard, Foley Schmidt, the brother of Wyatt Schmidt, on some hard tires right now. We'll see if that maybe affects him if the rain moves in, because the traction is going to be few and far between. As we take a look at the AlphaTauri of the Sieganator, running a little bit of white smoke out of the back of the Alfa Romeo there. We'll keep an eye on that as Jake Ocken and Bauer Dangles definitely vie for that first and second spot. And it looks like Bauer Dangles is going to take this one away. We got to make sure with Bauer Dangles being in first place, we've seen it before. We've seen it happen. He can be there. I said it in qualifying, he can be there. But he's got to be careful with the aggressiveness and with the overall, I guess, the hype that he gets himself, because Jake Ocken will snap and he will absolutely strike at the perfect opportune moment unless he makes corners like that. Wyatt Schmidt still trying to battle, and a little extra points for him here as these guys go into the corners of Sector 3. And you see on board here with Jake Ocken, not a whole lot of action going on behind him. Keep an eye on that battle, though, for first and second, as the beefy Haas and Ferrari battle it out. Close at 5 and 6. MN Hockey just got overtaken by Superfast TM. That Alfa Romeo team is looking for a solid race, and we look at ND Irish taking a look at maybe passing the Pepto-Bismol Pink MN Hockey, and he's going to do it. Nice job there. Not bad for a car with a little bit of mechanical issues. I think he's kind of gotten that resolved. Not sure if it was a driver issue or a mechanical issue. Next up, he's going to have to try to challenge that Alfa Romeo, and that Superfast TM Alfa Romeo has been running a terrific race as far as speed and pace goes. So Polchea going to overtake the MN Hockey car here, as well as the MN Hockey car takes a hit. And I think we might start seeing some wet tires. Excuse me, some wet tires come out. If there is any rain, I'm not sure if they're sprinkling yet or not. Jake Getch, the next opportunity for Superfast TM. The ND Irish is going to make things interesting. He's running on some hard tires. You see that white smoke coming out of the back end of the Red Bull there, but he's running it clean. He's running it smooth. Let's take a look and see if the ND Irish can kind of make a move here on that Alfa Romeo. He's running a quick pace. A little late on the brakes there. Nice corner there, a little bit into the grass. Not doing too bad, ND Irish, not doing too bad. Your partner, Captain Chaos, though, has got some work to do, sitting in 18th. And young Beaupre, great week last week. Not doing so hot this week. The middle of the pack, though, is where stuff gets really interesting as we go on board with Jake Getch, who's going to have some DRS here. Let's see if he can take on the other Jake, the 11th Jake that we have, the only wheel guy in the league. Can he do it? Running on some hard tires, and there he goes. Oh, Jake Remish going to maybe try to do something aggressive there, and Jake Getch loses control of the corner, and Jake Remish, the only wheel guy in the league, preserves his 5th spot. Played it cool, absolutely nothing going on there. Jake Getch bends the corner, just screws up the corner on his hard tires, and Jake Remish kind of takes advantage of a mistake by Jake Getch. And we're seeing a little bit of rain now come down here in Shanghai, and these two, the battle of the Jakes, it's always a thing. It's always going to be a thing here in FormulaJuan. And Remish is going to try to pull away and maybe take advantage of some poor driving by Jake Getch. Ooh, not quite the corner that Jake Getch wanted here. To try to maybe make up some time, getting a little wobbly. Ooh, and quick! Right there is Jake Remish makes a power move. Or excuse me, Jake Getch makes a power move on Jake Remish. Bear with me, there's a lot of Jakes. So Getch making a power move, looking ballsy for the stream. You gotta love it. And Alfa Romeo way behind there, but Jake Remish maybe not wanting to take this down so easy, but I think Jake Getch is going to try to pull away and make some separation there as we see the rain coming down. And these cars are getting pushed to the limit right now, going at a slick, almost 190 miles an hour. It's probably one of the fastest tracks we'll see these guys get to this year. And young Fullard and the other Renault will go on board with him. Not a whole lot of action around him. You see the Sieganator sitting in 3rd as we had a little bit of a lead change. Bauer Dangles is going to go from 1 to the pit lane as he's going to probably switch to some wet tires. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled on tire strategy right now for these guys, young Fullard and the other Renault. Familiar spot for Foley Schmidt in that 2nd. And running on some soft tires. Sieganator is playing the gamble right now. And he does have a little bit of a car issue. You see a little red wrench there in the bottom right-hand corner. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that, see what's going on there, and let's see if he can hold on to that first spot, or if maybe young Fullard pounces. We got a yellow flag here as mid-pack dogs maybe kind of get into a little bit of a bump and rub. Jake Ocken switches over to some wet tires. Let's see if that gives him any sort of advantage here in the corners. Not a whole lot of corners here in the Shanghai Speedway, so it should be a circuit racetrack. Oh, Busch Latte coming out of nowhere to overtake Jake Ocken and put him in his rearview mirrors and running on some soft tires. And Busch Latte just going full postage stamp, send it. 2 to 3 days shipping straight to God, dude. And Helling taking advantage of some wet tires and some slow driving by the Bauer Dangles as we see wet tires here by Bauer Dangles, and Jake Ocken proved to be the downfall of these drivers. Helling on some hards, Busch Latte on some softs, and Bauer Dangles moves back into the 8th spot. Not exactly where we wanted to see him. Segan moving from softs into probably some wets here as we go on board with young Fullard, following him around, and hopefully Segan will get that little red wrench fixed as he was having some car issues. Jake Getch in the Ferrari move into 2nd. Andy Irish, nice solid race for Andy Irish for that 3rd spot in a Pulcea, an unusual position for the Williams team in that Pulcea car in 4th. Great to see him, and he's on some hard tires. We'll see if the rain kind of affects him, as I believe that was a Montana Popane in the Ghost lap, as we see a yellow flag out. I don't see anybody dropping crazy positions. Could be due to Captain Chaos or possibly MN Hockey. And a rough race for MN Hockey as those guys are getting on wet tires. And Wyatt Schmidt overtaking super fast TM. Let's see, Wyatt Schmidt still running on some mediums. The rain's coming down. Rain's coming down here as far as these guys go. And Montana Popane and Popane Accessories is going to DNF out of. You never want to see a guy not finish a race. Sucks. But we hope everything's okay with him, and hopefully no controllers get broken as these guys go 3 wide here in China. A Alfa Romeo and a McLaren of Travis Helling. Busch Latte and Travis Busch Latte just absolutely gripping and ripping it right now, and Seaganator's going to get passed by the Travis Helling McLaren. But Busch Latte, aggressive driving, and it's paid off for him. He's running on some soft tires. He's about 6 laps to go, and this is probably one of the best races that we've seen out of AlphaTauri's Busch Latte. Dane, for those who don't know his actual name, Dane in the AlphaTauri running a solid race. Definitely going to brag about it on Twitter later. Makes that corner a little weird, gets a little slippy slidey. Tokyo Drift, Pulcea in the pit, and the Irish in the pit. We're going to drop them down. Busch Latte is going to move up to that 3rd and final podium spot, and he's not gonna really care too much about the rain, looks like. But this corner right here proven to be a little tough for him on those soft tires. Ooh, real tough for Helling on those hard tires. Let's see, maybe if the Seaganator in that Alfa Romeo can maybe try to get something done. Yellow flag here as the ND Irish bops down into that 8th spot. Also running on some wet tires. Pulcea running on some wet tires too. Looks like it was a bit of a mass pit for those guys. Franzi running on some hearts. Surprised DRS is still active. Yeah, with the wet climate, you'd be surprised that the DRS is still running. We'll see if that maybe changes. I'm not sure if that's a setting that these guys have or not. Bauer Dangles sitting in 6th on some wet tires, and Helling taking advantage of his hards, but I think that could prove to be disastrous as we go into the corner here. And Seaganator saw a little bit of daylight, nothing there. Oh, and more daylight there by the Seaganator, and he's going to take it. Nice job there by the Alfa Romeo, running on some wets, taking advantage of the hard tires of the McLaren, and a poor tire strategy here by Travis Helling could prove to be his downfall. And he's also got a little bit of mechanical issues as well, as we can see. Bauer Dangles and the Racing Point car overtake the McLaren there. Travis Helling a little late braking, dangerous here in the wet conditions, and doesn't quite make a move on the Seaganator like we thought he was going to. At least I thought he was going to. Aggressive, cut the corner, and Helling's going to go into the pit, as he probably should. So is Busch Latte. Travis Helling has some issues with the pit lane there, And Busch Latte is also going to go into the pit. I think that's probably due to the conditions here as we take a look at Jake Getch rounding the corners here of Sector 1, still running on some hard tires and sitting in second. Ooh, a little bit of, Teriyaki Boys, a little Tokyo Drift. And he's going a little slower than he normally would around that corner. That was pretty funny. Nice job, Getch. And young Fullard sitting on some hard tires as well, and those tires are looking a little rough. So we'll see maybe if he pits, but I highly doubt he's going to give up. What's it like in Tokyo? Oh man, close one there by that's young Fullard. I thought that was Jake Ocken. That's young Fullard sitting in first. Familiar sight for him sitting on the podium. That'd be 2 weeks in a row as we take a look. Oh, there we go. Oh, Jake Getch running quite a Tokyo drift right there. I know we're in China. A little bit more as these wet conditions are going to prove a little bit disastrous for these hard tire guys that are in 1 and 2. So we'll see. Maybe they've got a pretty good lead as of right now as Siegnator and Bauer Dangles take a look at each other. Maybe try to duke some stuff out here. No DRS for either guy here as they go into the straight. We're lap 23 of 28, and this has been a fun race. I love wet races. And we take a look at Bauer Dangles. A little bit of daylight there, but nothing much. And Siegnator plays it well. Great defensive driving there by the Alfa Romeo. Ooh, let's see if Tucker can maybe make a move. And we do see Jake Getch pit. Oh, a late pit for Getch. Let's see. He just didn't like the way the tires were handling. That makes sense. And young Fullard's in and out, no problem. But that gives an opportunity for the Siegnator, who's already running on some wet tires. Oh, by getting challenged by Bauer Dangles as they go wheel to wheel and make a little bit of rubber sparks there. And hopefully neither car is damaged. It doesn't look like it, but both these guys are running on some wet tires. The advantage young Fullard has is his wet tires are newer, as we see Siegnator kind of drift there a little bit. Bauer Dangles and young Fullard will have to take a look in their rear view mirror for the young Fullard in that Renault who's running on some brand new wets. But these guys have been racing on wets for a couple laps now as the rain's really coming down. Ooh, and into the corners here as these guys move quick. Polchea also running in some wets for the Williams. And an unusual position for the Williams in the actual F1s and anywhere near the points. So it's good for Brian Nash, Polchea to be sitting here in the points in number 4. Good job by him. And great redemption race for the ND Irish as we got about 4 or 5 laps to go as Polchea takes that corner a little wide, but takes great control in the wet conditions here. And young Fullard still trying to catch up between these two guys. As it's getting a little close here as they go into the corner of Sector 3, and there it is. Bauer Dangles overtakes. Let's see if the Alfa Romeo can maybe make a challenge. Bauer Dangles is going to seal the deal as far as any sort of movement goes. Bauer Dangles moves into that first spot. Nice job being aggressive, but not overly aggressive. And let's see if Siegnator can maybe replicate a little bit of that Bauer Dangles aggression. Coming here into some fast parts of the track. We're going real slow here, boys. Nothing over 100 miles an hour in those corners, as you can tell. Nice and glidey as we go on board here with the Siegnator. Look at that speedometer down there in the bottom right hand. You'll see them not creeping over 100 miles an hour unless they get into a straight here, which they're going to, and then kind of drift down. So definitely take a look and keep our eyes on that speedometer as these guys, nice hot brakes, a little late braking, and a young Fullard may try to take advantage of Siegnator not being super good in the wet conditions. Polchea just trying to maintain his position in 4th, and the ND Irish maybe going to see a little bit of pressure here by Jake Ocken in the Renault. The wet conditions definitely add a whole other element to the race and allow us to kind of see these guys their real driving potential. As you see Jake Getch going to try to hone in on Jake Ocken. These two are running a 1-2 punch early on some hard tires. They tried to make those tires last as long as possible, but I think they were just going to absolutely biff it, or they were going to have a blowout if they didn't change tires. And Jake Ocken, is going to definitely get some separation here from the Ferrari. But not by much. Oh, a little more Tokyo drift there by Jake Getch as he tries to get a little aggressive, and he thinks he's going to push the Ferrari to be able to do it here on that Renault. I think that Renault may buckle under the pressure here coming into the corner. Let's take a look. As we get a look at Jake Ocken. Oh, not quite. A nice, both of them with great corners there as the Indy Irish stave off two a little bit more experienced, a little bit better drivers in the Renault and the Ferrari there, and the Indy Irish just kind of maintaining pace for right now. A lot of these guys are pretty spread out due to the rains, so we're just going to kind of coast through them. Not a whole lot of action going on. Of course, we always appreciate everybody stopping by and watching the race. Of course, we do this usually on Sunday nights, starting at about 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we see young Follard, the Renault, take a little bit of a Tokyo drift path here. And still trying to hunt down that second spot and get a little bit closer. But of course, we usually do this on Sunday nights, starting at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, about a little bit after 8, 8:10 Central Standard Time. You see those wet tires of the Sieganator. Kind of getting a little wobbly here. He might, we may see a blowout by the Alfa Romeo. I think he can milk those tires for another couple laps. And we've just done the last couple weeks on Mondays because of the national holiday being the Super Bowl. And, of course, Valentine's Day. A lot of these guys either have a significant other or their left or right hand, whichever one they prefer. And we wanted to respect that time with their SOs, so we decided to do it on Monday instead. I know my significant other appreciated it, but the other guys did too. Other guys is. So we take a look. We're going on board here with the Sieganator, the Alfa Romeo, and I'm kind of keeping an eye on those tires. Got a lot of straightaways here left to go. One more lap as Bauer Dangles is just plowing through, and he's got to be careful to not lose that first place spot. There's not a whole lot of room for error, especially in a wet race. Great view there of that beautiful bright pink Racing Point car, as both the Sieganator and Bauer Dangles are running on some fairly old wet tires, so we can kind of see them bubbling out there on the side there. They're not in that perfect circle. As we take a look at Follard, kind of doing a little bit of a drift maneuver there. Nice corner, and Polchea running still in that fourth place spot, and the Indy Irish is managing to keep Ocken and Getch at bay, and Ocken is managing to keep Getch at bay. Those are two very, very good drivers right there, sitting in spots that they're not usually not used to. Jake Getch recently has seen the middle of the pack. Jake Ocken has usually been in the top of the pack here. So definitely an interesting race, and I think if the rain didn't come through, I think they might have stayed kind of closer to the top. Yellow flag as Infinite Speed retires from the session. It's 3 DNFs technically. Young Bopes and MN Hockey still being troopers as they round out the 17th, 18th spot, 16th, 18th spot now. And we kind of take a look at these three of Indy Irish, Jake Ocken, and Jake Getch as they pass your screen there, right into the living room, if you will. And we're going to see a Bauer Dangles win, barring any serious issues as we go into lap 28 of 28. And that Siegen Alfa Romeo may try to take advantage of any sort of mistake that the Bauer Dangles sees, or we see from Bauer Dangles, I should say. The Sieganator is definitely would be absolutely hyped if that Tucker Hafner Racing Point car did happen to make a mistake. But right now, he's running a pretty solid pace. He has been all race long. And very good for Tucker Hafner to get back into where he wants to be. And you can tell that by his driving, his aggressiveness, his willingness to kind of push the car and push the envelope, as we saw early in the season. And just a disappointing early season for him, but this would be huge for him to get a win here in China, and in a 50-50 race, a half wet, half dry. And for Siegen, no podiums this year thus far, no wins this year thus far, but this is pretty darn close. He's got to be pretty proud of himself pushing that Alfa Romeo to to the limit in again a 50-50 race, a half wet, half dry. I wouldn't call it a wet race. I'd call it a 50-50 for young Follard. Another solid performance by the Renault team. Both drivers raced their full potential, and we go into the straightaway here as we go on board with the current first place driver of Tucker Hafner. But for young Follard, another great podium for Renault. More points. Jake Ocken moves into some more points, but it's definitely going to be disappointing for Ocken to be where he is. But there you have it, your China champion Bauer Dangles and the Sieganator and Alfa Romeo coming in second. Young Follard rounding out the podium in third. Of course, stick around. I will have a post-race interview with all three guys on the podium. Polchea, nice race. Billy Nash running in fourth for Williams. Andy Irish, great performance by you. Be proud of yourself, sir. In fifth, Jake Getch, the streamer boy. Jake Getch, make sure you go follow him on Twitch at Getch. Rounding out sixth in the Ferrari. Ocken in seventh. Disappointing race for Ocken, but not too bad for a 50-50. Busch Latte, aggressive race. Did well for the AlphaTauri team, bumping up into ninth. Super fast TM. The lesser of the Alfa Romeos, but at a solid pace early on. I think the wet conditions kind of struggled. The only wheel guy in the league, well, better luck next week, buddy. Travis Helling finished above his teammate this week, which I think what Twitter wanted to see, but just outside of the points in 11th. Brian Franzi, no Hanzi, in the beefy Haas, sandwiching that Helling in the 12th spot. Wyatt Schmidt, we got to take a look at Wyatt Schmidt sitting in 13th. That is another disappointing loss. As his teammate Dane Block runs right into the wall, overtaking his teammate. And Captain Chaos, MN Hockey, and Young Beaupre running into the final positions, and I suck because I was not watching the first place driver. Driver of the day is AlphaTauri. I believe that was either Infinite Speed or not Dane Block, excuse me. Frontward. Nice job, Jake Ocken, getting on the podium. First win of the season for him, and first podium of the season for him, and expect some more. This is gonna be a big confidence boost for Racing Point. And like I said, be sure to stick around. There were 4 DNFs exactly, so I am an absolute oracle when it comes to DNFs, and a shout out to Trackstar 135 because he helped me with the Blues bets today. Like I said, be sure to stick around for the post-race presser, if you will. I'll have interviews from all three guys as we talk about the race from Bauer Dangles, Alfa Romeo, and the Sieganator, and a young Follard. So we'll be right back with that. music. Let's turn you guys up. All right, first things first.
Yeah, I gotta make it quick.
Gotta make it quick. All right, who's up first?
Just him.
Right? All right, Bauer
Hey.
So, Young Fuller to third. You got a back-to-back podium weeks. What you got to say about that 50-50 race? If you're even still here.
Oh, I'm still here. Good race. We had a little problem with the tire strategy from the garage. We're gonna have to talk to our principal Benny Freemark about that. Throwing the inners on Jock in a little too soon. But Renault's back on the podium again another week, and just proud to be wearing the black and yellow this week for my boy Wiz Khalifa.
I do have a question. What's going on with this doesn't have to pertain with Renault. What's going on with the little bro?
You know, I don't want to make any public comments on somebody else's racing in another garage, but looks like he's having some issues. I don't know if he's putting in the work. He's having off-season problems. Obviously, He's got really sore wrists after Valentine's Day. Huge day for the hands. So we'll see what happens next week.
All right. Well, thank you. Nice job. Congratulations to Renault again. I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Sieganator, Alfa Romeo, nice job. Disappointing first couple weeks. Just kind of walk us through the second place and the tire strat. What was going on?
You know, just started on the mediums. And it's an unreal feeling. I honestly don't think I'd ever be here. I'd like to thank my mom and dad. This is making me tear up, dude. It's so sad.
Hey, you made it, and
It's so sad.
Thank you.
You got it, dude.
So sad, dude.
50-50, and you have to switch to some I guess those wet tires. Like I said, just kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, no, I qualied in 11th, so I started on the mediums and then just cut up into 5th place, and from there I just grinded away and ended up in the 2 spot. So that's what we got. About to hop in the shower and then hit the hay and head out to Tahoe. So.
Well, hey, congratulations.
I got to get out of
Heroin
here.
and
So
Tahoe.
thanks for the interview. We'll see you later. Yeah, thanks, Mac.
Of course. All right, the man, the myth, the legend that they call Tucker Hafner. Walk us through China.
Yeah. It was complete luck. Racing Point sucks ass, so I don't know how I won. Yeah, it was absolute luck. I got super lucky that Remish and Jockin both spun out. It probably won't happen again.
Yep, and then they absolutely the tire strat for them was try to push those hards that they were on as far as possible. And I think you just kind of took advantage of them not switching over fast enough. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, their second tire was hard. I put on the mediums to go fast. I knew there was rain coming, so I wanted to get as much pace as possible, given those guys are faster than me and I suck. So luckily they spun, like I already said, but yeah, that was the strategy. Put the mediums on when they had hards.
There's always got to be a good race for an underdog, and I think you and the Alfa Romeo team proved that you've been racing solid all season so far. You had a great run in Bahrain, just a bad corner. You've been making things happen early in other races, so I think you deserved the win as far as this goes, and don't be too humble about Racing Point sucking. I think you did a good job. So I appreciate y'all being here. I'm gonna unmute you all here in a sec as soon as I sign off the stream. So nice job, good job today, Tucker, and I'll keep chirping you on Twitter. Okay.
For sure. Thanks, Blue.
Of course. Thank you. Alrighty, exciting race in China. Apparently, I should be signed into Xbox Live. Exciting race in China, 50-50 race. We don't see those all that often, half dry, half wet. I hope you guys had a ton of fun. I know I did. Of course, I'm your host. You're my boy Blue. This is all brought to you by Penny's Coffee. Tune in next week. We'll be back Sunday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 Eastern. I will, of course, be here as I am